My name is Clayton, and welcome to another episode of the Watch Dog podcast. I'm a professional dog runner and watch enthusiast talking to his pals about dogs and watches. How's everyone doing? Thank you so much for listening. You know I appreciate it. Also appreciate the warm welcome back. All of you looking the other way on the quitting of the podcast and the restarting of the podcast like nothing ever happened. It means the world to me to be chatting with all of you again and just kind of be in the swing of things, recording episodes, thinking about episode ideas all the time. I am trying to find a work-life balance, constantly working on myself so I can be a happier, stress-free person. Not easy with my cluttered brain, but yeah, trying every day. And I think probably the biggest reason I have stopped and started the podcast so many times over the last 5 years, yes, that's right, 5 years now of doing this show, is just because I've never had that balance. I tend to focus on the fun things like watch collecting or recording episodes and, put the real life adult stuff on the back burner. I procrastinate that stuff. I get overwhelmed, and then I quit the podcast for several months so I can try to catch up. This time around, in the last 6 months, really, I've been really good about doing my homework before I go out to play, so to speak, right? Getting all my invoices sent, all my other, paperwork done, emails answered before I do the fun things. And that's really worked out for me. Watches have been sort of on the back burner. We're going to get into that a little bit today in this episode. But yeah, and that makes me happy, not taking such a huge chunk of my brain power and my thought processes. But anyway, well, this episode is going to be a little bit different, a little heavy at times probably, but I hope you enjoy it. So let's just dive right in. I did a full marathon last month, in early May. I do a lot of half marathons a year. I belong to a group, the Rhode Island Road Runners, and we pace half marathons and full marathons for local races. What that means is we hold up signs with a time on them. For instance, I typically pace like a 1:50 half marathon, 1 hour, 50 minutes. If you are trying to finish in that time, you run with me. The tendency, of course, in races, there's adrenaline, there's crowds, there's people cheering, you're amped up. The norm is to start out fast and then burn out. That happens a lot. It's happened to the best of us. It's happened to me several times. If you run with a pacer, we stay even keel the whole time. We run a little faster, than the stated pace that we're supposed to run per mile, just because I want to get you there in, before 150. But yeah, we're right around there. We're pretty even Steven the whole time. So that allows you to have stored energy throughout and not get too burned out or hit a wall. So I do a lot of half marathons every year, but I have not done a full marathon probably since 2018 or 2019. I'm not even sure I've done one since I've turned 40. I do what's best for the team. I was asked at the Providence Marathon to run the second half of the 4-hour full marathon. A lot of times pacers will split up a full marathon. Somebody will do the first half and then somebody will do the second half. We were short on pacers. I hate to sound like a dick, but that's slower than my normal pace a little bit. 9 minute and something miles. Which, I'm very fortunate to say as I approach 50 is a little slow for me yet. I realize I'm lucky and my knees are probably going to go and I'll be wishing I could run 9-minute miles someday. But as of now, it's fairly easy for me to do that. I agreed to do it just because our director of Pacers was just a little stressed out and trying to fill positions. So I said, sure, I'll do that. About 10 minutes before the race, she was going to drive me to the second half so I could take over for the first half person. I decided to just run the full thing. I said, if I run half of a race, this is a slow pace for me. But if I do a full marathon, this is perfect. So I did. I told the pacer, I'm going to run with you. You're going to pace the first half. It was his first time pacing, so I think he appreciated somebody who's been doing it for 10 years there with him. He was great. He was awesome. I ran ahead of him a little bit. I ran with him for a while. And then I took over the sign at the halfway point. And I noticed, or I was reminded, I guess, that marathons are a microcosm for life, really. And if we want to throw it in just to make it relevant, watch collecting as well, right? You always hear it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. That's true to a certain extent. I was reminded of it because you run the gamut of emotions and moods when you're running a marathon, especially a 4-hour marathon. You're running for 4 hours. I mean, just imagine. You start kind of happy, excited, full of adrenaline. You go down the road a little bit and your ankle starts hurting. You're maybe not in such a good mood. Then you have some goo or electrolytes and you're feeling good again. You're feeling rejuvenated again. Yeah, I mean, gosh, if that's not life, I don't know what is. Some days are good. Like I say at the end of each episode, some days you're the dog, some days you're the hydrant, but at least you're outside, right? That is a marathon to a T. Also, people come and go in your life. Our high school friends, maybe we go to different colleges, we lose touch. Happens in college. I had a great friend when we lived at our old place and we hung out all the time. We would run together several times a week. And then I moved and yeah, we touch base, but it's not the same as it was. Like I said, people come and go, and that happens in a marathon too, right? I started with a group of people, I amp everybody up at the start line and they say, a lot of them said, this is my first marathon ever. And wow, all right, you're going to be with us. And, people either pull ahead, maybe we're going too slow for them. They feel good, so they pull ahead. Some people kind of fall behind, I was running with a couple guys. It was their first marathon ever. And they weren't even wearing like smartwatches, Garmin's, or Apple Watches to track their pace or anything, which is awesome in a way. But I think they got a little confused on pace and they were running faster than they wanted to. About mile 19, they both sort of bowed out. I think they did end up finishing the race, but they walked a good portion of it. I feel bad. You kind of want to wait around for those people because you've been with them for 2 hours and change. There's a camaraderie and that sort of pain and that sort of effort that it takes to run a marathon. And when somebody goes down with a cramp or just needs to stop, it's a little sad, especially when we're kind of a tight-knit group. But we press on because that's my job, to press on. And also I had one girl from Ireland who ran with me and my group the whole time. The whole 26 miles, she was with me at the start. She was with me at the finish. And that's life too, right? We have those lifelong friends. I have friends that I went to high school with who will be my friends forever. We may not see each other all the time, but when we do, we pick up just like we had. We text almost every day. Those are I hate the expression really, but the ride or die people that are with you through thick and thin. We change a lot. I mean, I've changed so much since high school and so have all of my friends, but yet we remain connected, through marriages, through divorces, through whatever life might throw at us. They're our best friends. And that happens with a marathon. If I have to go slower, if I have to go faster, this girl from Ireland, it was also her first full marathon too. And it was great chatting with her along the way. And gave me a big hug at the end. Thank you. Marathons are a microcosm for watch collecting as well, right? Just because you can't afford a watch right now, it's not the end of the world. Sometimes we get so fixated, we have to buy a watch now, even if it puts us into financial straits. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon. An expense came up earlier this year for my wife and I, and uncertain economic times, I felt like paying for it out of my watch box instead of my savings account. I have slowed down on buying watches. That's relative. For me, it's slowing down. So my savings account's looking really good. And you know what? When a large expense came up, a few different things. My wife thinks I'm crazy for selling watches that I really like, but I just felt right now, it's the best for us, for me, for mostly for mental health, right? To sell watches because I can always get more watches. And I loved all 5 watches that I sold this year. You can probably guess what's gone. I'm not going to go into it too much, but I sold them, and you know what? I don't even think about them now that they're in the mailbox and gone to new owners. It's just the way it goes with me. I'm sentimental to a point, but not really. Also, I can be a cold-hearted flipper, and just having a padded savings account was more important than having a padded watch box right now. And that may change, and that's part of a marathon. Like I said, moods change when you're running a marathon. Things hurt, then the pain goes away. Like my ankle bothered me around mile 5 or so. Mile 10, I didn't even feel it. These weird aches and pains creep up and go away. And, watch collecting is the same thing. Our styles change, our tastes change, the number of watches we have changes. I've had 40 watches in my collection, and now I have 4, not counting G-Shocks and, a few watches I wear for work. In my main collection of, watches I've put real money into, I only have 4, and it's been awesome. I wear them all the time. I do like weekly rotations with all 3 of them. And it's the closest I'm ever going to get to being a 1-watch guy. I don't think I can go smaller than 3 or 4. And it'll probably blow it back up again. Like I said, it's a marathon. It'll probably happen again. And then I'm sure I'll go back down. But, the way I was feeling right now was, you know what? We're going to use Watchbox money to pay for things, and it's going to feel good. Something might come up in a few weeks that's expensive, that I've wanted for a while, that I really like, and I won't mind dropping $10K of savings account money or whatever it is. God, I hope not. That sounds terrible to me actually right now, but you never know. It could happen. So even though we always say life is a marathon, not a sprint, life is also short, and it can end in the blink of an eye. And I was reminded of that. I'm always reminded of that, but it hit close to home a couple times this year already. These were not, close friends of mine, but acquaintances that I talk to on a fairly regular basis. And yeah, when things happen like this, it just makes you think about your own mortality and what's important in life, and what we should focus on and not take for granted. So in January, I had a client, very fit guy in his early 60s, healthy guy, appeared to take care of himself. I ran his dog while he worked from home, and I would take his dog in the morning. It was a Monday morning. I ran his dog, talked to him for a while. He seemed great. He actually called me around 5 p.m. that day to ask if I could run his dog the next day. I couldn't, but we did talk for a while. And then the next morning, I heard from his partner that he had passed away, and I could not believe it. It was surreal. Like, what? Are you joking? What? He passed away? Yep. Was found on the kitchen floor. Apparently had a heart attack. Unbelievable. I talked to him probably a few hours before he passed away, and he was the same funny, jovial guy. We had a laugh. He sounded normal. He sounded fine. And man, just a few hours later, gone. The fragility of life. Life is but a fleeting moment. My friend Mario says that to me all the time, especially when he's trying to convince me to go to expensive concerts and wrestling events and things like that. Don't think about it. Just do it. Life is but a fleeting moment. It is. And, it's just a reminder that could happen to any of us. Maybe not necessarily a heart attack, but gosh, any number of horrible things could happen. And it's over. It's gone. This is getting really dark, but this is where I go sometimes. And then last week, another reminder of that hit home. I have a watchmaker, a local watchmaker here who I've talked about on the show. I met him like early on when I got into watches. I discovered his shop, went in. He sold me a Bulova Accutron Astronaut. I also bought an Accutron Space View from him. My wife has gotten all of her quartz watches batteries changed with him for years. I've brought issues to him when they come up, little watch issues, things like that. Sometimes I'll just go and chat with him because he's a quirky guy. He gets political, and we don't necessarily agree on that stuff, but we're both good sports about it. And that doesn't automatically disqualify you from my life if we disagree on things. Because if I only hung out with people who agreed with me, I think that'd be kind of boring. But anyway, so yeah, I hadn't been there in a while though. I think I went the end of last summer. I went in for something, and that was the last time I talked to him. It was right after I was in the hospital, and I think I talked about that on this podcast. I was in the hospital for a few days last year with Lyme complications and stuff. It was ugly, but I asked him to fix my Vogard, and he had called me that it was ready to pick up, and I didn't get back to him for weeks. And I eventually did, and I told him about what happened, and that's why I was sort of out of communication with him for a while. And then my wife went in there, and he was so worried about me, and she's like, he's fine now, but he kept going on and on about how much he likes me, and just how sad it made him that I was in the hospital and everything. And so I probably should have stopped in a few times since then, but I didn't. And I've been meaning to, because my Seiko Samurai just stopped working. I don't know the movement. I don't know what I did. I've fallen a few times in that watch this year on grass, but maybe it took a bump it didn't like, and it just not working. And I've been meaning to get there, just haven't had a chance. Last week, my brother-in-law visited. He was driving in, and my wife was getting back from a trip also to see her mom. So they were both coming back at the same time, and I figured, you know what, I'll go and grab sandwiches. So when they both get here, they'll be tired, and we don't want to cook or anything. So I'll just grab sandwiches out. And I drove by the watchmaker's shop, and it wasn't the watchmaker's shop anymore. It was some convenience store. And I was like, whoa, what? I rubbed my eyes like, where am I? But nope, it's not Watchworks anymore. And I texted my friend who also goes to him, and I said, whoa, Robert's watch shop isn't there anymore. And then I Googled, his store, and permanently closed. And I thought, oh no. And, my friend texted back like, oh gosh, what are we going to do? Where are we going to take our watches? And then a few minutes later, he texted me an article that, unfortunately, Robert, my watchmaker, was hit by a drunk driver while on his bicycle and died. Last fall, I think October. Like, what? I was in shock because I have a few friends that go to him and no one knew. So I guess that means he does a good job and our watches were all working properly, right? But nobody had any idea that this had happened. And yeah, apparently he didn't pass away immediately. He was in the hospital for a while. So this article was saying that he did indeed pass away. And now the person that hit him, obviously the charges were upgraded to manslaughter, vehicular manslaughter, or whatever it was. But man, both my friends, the watchmaker and my client, like they had plans the next day. They had probably had plans that evening, and life was taken from them. And it's just a harsh reminder of how fragile our existence really is. Maybe we shouldn't sweat the small stuff too much, right? Like, it's taught me that, for sure. And I'm trying, as I said, I'm trying self-improvement, trying to, just relax a little bit, but also take care of things I need to take care of, but really just put in perspective, what's important, So maybe that means for you, what does that mean? Does that mean buy all the watches? We're only here for a little while. We might as well have fun. So let's buy all the watches. Like I said, that means for me, let's have less watches. Why waste time with watches I don't really want to wear? Let's just focus on the watches I do want to wear. I'm wearing my Air King a ton. I'm wearing my Lions watch a ton. My SNR. Those are the three watches I mostly wear. And then I'm going to talk about it in another episode. I bought the Gruna high horology brand, Grunfeld. They're more affordable option. I think I'm going to do an episode on that next week. But yeah, so that's my dress watch option now. And I'm so happy with that. It's going to blow it up again. I have that Nomos coming. Maybe the ultimate goal is a 6-watch collection, but that's what makes me happy. But maybe, you know, when you think about the fragility of life, maybe that means you just want to start buying more watches, things you've had on your radar for a while. If you can responsibly do it, go hog wild, right? Maybe that means you just want to wear your dad's GMT Master from 1979 and that's it. It makes you realize life's too short and you want that connection with him. Maybe he's not around anymore. So maybe that means you sell all the other things and just wear that. Maybe you're a one-watch guy. I've been wearing, 3 watches a lot. So that means they collect more scratches. I was hiking, I think it was last month in my Air King. I was out running with my dog. When I just take my younger dog, the older dog didn't want to come that day. It was a little hot. So I'm doing some light running in the woods with my younger beagle, and I tripped on a root and I went down. Landed on some gravel path. And of course there was a person there and she was like horrified, like, "Oh my God, are you okay? Oh God." I didn't even register the injuries. It was more like embarrassment, like, "Yes, I'm okay." Then I quickly scuttled off. But then I realized, like, oh God, I'm bleeding. My knee's messed up. My elbow is messed up. And I'm wearing my frickin' Rolex Air King. Yeah, the Air King took a hit. Like the bracelet for sure. Nothing really too bad on like the bezel or the watch head. A couple scratches, but the bracelet has a few nice dings. And I've never been one to really care about scratches too much. But man, I just kind of smiled and said, "Good, this thing looks weathered. This is exactly the romantic watch relationship I want. I want these battle scars. This gives a watch character, in my opinion." So, I know a lot of people out there, I see it on Facebook all the time. They get one tiny scratch on a watch and they're horrified. They want to send it back to the manufacturer. They, ask, "What can I do?" And man, you're entitled to feel however you want about these very expensive things. And I don't begrudge you for wanting to keep it looking immaculate and taking care of something you spend a lot of money on. But for me, that's not truly enjoying a watch. Enjoying a watch is being able to run in the woods with my Rolex Air King and falling, and knowing that is a potential hazard. I wore my Moser out there a bunch, knowing that, gosh, I could fall on a rock and fall fucking flat on my face, right? And then the watch is probably toast. A polished white gold watch, that's going to be toast. But I did it anyway because that's how I have to own and enjoy my watches. And having them wear me as opposed to wearing them is just not fun for me at all. So maybe when we put these things in perspective, that life is short, life is fragile, maybe let's stress less about the scratches on our watch and maybe check in on our family and friends. And I guess that was part of the reason for doing the podcast again, not getting bogged down in the fact that, maybe I'm going to miss some weeks and beating myself up about it. My watchmaker passing away and like the tragic, horrible, tragic circumstances that it happened under, it just got me thinking, like, man, just do the podcast. It brings you closer to really cool people. So just do it, Don't worry about all that. I'm not going to do it every week. Who cares? People will forgive you. And I think not sweating the small stuff is so important. And as I get older, I'm learning that. I still do quite a bit, this whole podcast is being neurotic about watches, right? I don't like the winding on the Speedmaster, blah, blah, blah. So, maybe, some small things will still get to us and that's fine. But put in perspective what's important in life, and that's the relationships and maybe cutting people out too. I left a bunch of watch groups this year, not because of one particular person, just because, it was bringing me down more than it was bringing me up. And maybe it's just clutter, like all the notifications. I know you can shut them off, but I'm too lazy to do that sometimes. Notifications, people arguing, all these things that after a while, like I just felt were negatively affecting my life. So they're gone. Focusing on the important stuff. So I know this was a little bit of a heavy episode, not a whole lot of watch talk, but man, not to trivialize poor Robert and his tragic passing, but this leaves a real void in our local watch community as well. I'm not sure we have another watchmaker I would trust. I have to find one. I have to source another one, see who other local watch enthusiasts are using now. I mean, Robert was trained on the Accutron movements. I know Bulova is bringing back the tuning fork Accutron technology right now. They just announced that last week or the week before. I don't know. Not too many people were trained on those movements anymore, and he was. I bought 2 from him that he purchased and restored. And he was just a fantastic guy. Like I said, a little quirky, but for him to go out that way, it's just horrible. I'm running all day. I go for runs on busy streets. I mean, people are looking at their phones. People are not paying attention. You have to be on, if you're running or cycling or anything like that, you have to be paying attention 100% because sadly drivers aren't. And hey, guilty as charged. When I'm driving, people are texting me. I'm driving for work a lot and people are texting me about their dogs, or I have to text them and tell them that I'll be there soon, whatever it might be. I get it. Make the text when you're stopped, right? Or stop just to do it. It's not that important. What if you are the person who is not paying attention and a cyclist goes right in front of you? God forbid, right? Again, life's too short, and so just be careful out there. Love each other. Talk to people. If you're going through things, talk to people. Sorry, this is all over the place. I'm just feeling this right now. So talk to me. Shoot me a message. Call me. Text me. Whatever. Always here to talk. And we'll get back to regularly scheduled watch content next week, I promise. But this is just something I was feeling and wanted to get out there. So, like I said, shoot me a message on Instagram. You can text me. There's a link in the show notes, I believe. Text the show. It's called fan mail on my end. So, I like getting fan mail. Reach out any number of ways. I'm always fairly quick to respond. And again, thank you for listening. Remember, sometimes you're the dog, sometimes you're the hydrant, but hey, at least you're outside. Take care, and we'll talk to you on the next episode of the Watch Dog Podcast. See you later.